Well, having listened to you for this much time, I think it would do us good if we took a walk in the courtyard. Don't you think so?
Sounds good to me.
Okay then, why don't you lead the way?
Sure.
I had a chat with your father a few days ago regarding this issue, but the question is, why do you think I should forgive you in the face of what you did?
It's because I felt so stupid and worthless. I am sincerely sorry, Sir Peters. I didn't know what came over me. Please find a way to forgive me.
A company secret must remain secret at all times. You know, young man, it is evident that your father's friendship with me is the reason I'm giving you this rare audience. We've come a long way. Naturally, the likes of you won't be allowed to come anywhere near me or things that belong to me. You get that?
Without a doubt, sir. And by the way, I want to thank you once again for opening your doors to me. It means a lot to me.
I get that. Now listen, though forgiving you is not all that matters, I want to see a sincere resolve to change for good. You've done this a countless time, and I assure you your father's friendship won't change a thing if you fail to keep your side of the bargain.
I'm so happy for this privilege to work for you again.
Well, before you leave, remember that silence makes a real man. It's the key ingredient to attaining success. I will see you on Monday. And don't be late.
Of course, I won't. Thank you.
What kept you out this late? I've been waiting all day. Your father is not even back yet.
Dad is not back from work? That's surprising. Did you call him to know what's wrong?
I did.
So?
He's dealing with some newly acquired interests in the company.
I see. Perhaps those investors from Norway are finally here.
Enough about your father. Let's talk about your day with Sir Peters.
Perhaps we should do that over dinner. I'm starving. Mom, the meal was tasty. I can't wait to hit the bed.
I know, but not without telling me how it went with Sir Peters.
Oh, that. It went perfectly okay. And as a matter of fact, I will be resuming work on Monday.
Ah, I'm so relieved now. Honestly, I'd hoped for a worse outcome.
You know it's wrong to be a pessimistic person.
This is an isolated case scenario, my son. You know, in view of what you did in that company, one could only expect a negative conclusion. And I'm not alone on this. Your father had already called a lot of his friends for assistance.
But he spoke with Sir Peters. Did he not trust him?
You understand your father has a lot of respect for that man, but you have disappointed him a lot. You really have to be more careful this time. But anyway, I'm happy for you, son.
Can I go to bed now?
That must be your father. Please, go and get the door while I quickly get his dinner ready.
Okay, Mom. But let me talk to him about all this in the morning. It's weekend.
Just get the door, naughty boy. I'm happy you are starting work again. Your Sir Peters is definitely a rare gem.
I think I'm the luckiest person alive.
Well said, because my hopes are alive again.
How do you mean?
Have you forgotten your promises, the car, Gucci handbags, my house rent and the rest?
Oh, that. But I thought that was in the past. Isn't it?
Well, as long as you're still my husband in the making, all things stay the way they are.
This is probably why I was asked to ditch you.
Who said that? Oh, let me guess. Your father, right? That guy never really liked me. But for goodness sake, can't he just mind his own business? We are adults, for crying out loud.
Can you stop being silly, Susan? Dad never said a thing about you.
Then who did?
Kevin did. But...
the good-for-nothing, rascally friend of yours.
Come on, Susan. Kevin didn't mean it in a bad way. He only wanted me to get things sorted out financially speaking.
Sort things out, you say? And he believes it's not possible with me by your side? I don't trust him for anything.
Be easy on the poor guy. It's all good. And by the way, Dad does not hate you. Shall we order something now?
Oh yeah, I could eat a whole elephant.
How are things looking, young man? Fantastic. Very fabulous, sir. And I want to thank you for the opportunity. Enough of the appreciation, Ben. As a matter of fact, you need to thank your father the more. Also, remember, things need to remain on a professional level here at Skylier. Of course, sir. Well, I have a board meeting to attend in a few minutes. Let me know if you need any help. Sure. Look who we have here. Your very first day of work, huh? How was it, and how come you are returning this late? It wasn't too bad, but at some point, I sort of felt he was punishing me for my wrongs. So much work, I couldn't even have lunch. I am so drained physically and mentally, even at this moment. Sit with me for a moment. I know you are tired and probably hungry, but listen, son, Sir Peters is not the kind of hideous picture in your imagination. But here's the thing, you have reached a point in your life where you have to take responsibility for your wrongs. However, punishing you is not an option. I know Sir Peters that much. You think so? Because I kind of feel quite edgy around him. Who knows, he might decide to set me up in order to get rid of me for good. That is your mind working against you there, son, and you have to be very careful. Many have shot themselves in the foot reasoning the same way. So, what do you think I should do to gain his full trust? What's more, you already have the same sensitive position you faltered in. That is the greatest trust you could ever derive from a guy like Sir Peters. And if you ask me, you are the one to reciprocate this rare trust, not me or your mother. I'm kind of happy, but at the same time confused. Or should I say sad? By the way, where's Mom? I am kinda hungry. Your mother should be in the kitchen. But remember, son, one of the things that makes a man is to not speak too much, especially when he isn't supposed to speak at all. Silence is the key. The urgency in your voicemail was beyond imagination. Did someone die? The question is what's stopping you from acting like a man for once, Ben? I don't know what you mean by that, but if it's the fact that I picked you a bit late, I apologize. Why did you spill the beans to Susan? But I didn't remember you telling me it was meant to be a secret. Must I tutor you to act like a grown man? What is really wrong with you? Listen, Susan is bad news, a huge distraction. Come on, man, there are better marriageable women in virtually every stretch of the road. Besides, you shouldn't even bother yourself with women in marriage at this point. You just got lucky recently and I think you should put all your attention to it. But I love Susan, period. Ben, what you have is infatuation. Something Christianity may refer as lust. And Susan doesn't love you either. She's around you for the money. And if you go ahead to marry her, consider her a trophy wife. She would ruin you. Are you my father now? Mr. Holier than thou, why do you feel qualified to lecture me about life? This is why I like JB more. You are just as boring as my dad.
Once again, I want to thank you for honoring my call at a short notice. How is life treating you, Mr. Tobias?
You don't have to thank me, Sir Peters. If there was anyone to show more appreciation and thankfulness, it would be me. And I can only hope he has learned a lesson or two in all this problem.
Well, a wise son, the Bible says, listens to his father's advice. I'm sure Ben has learned a lesson. Anyway, this is part of why I have invited you here.
Has he done something awful again?
No. You see, I'm getting old, we're all getting old. However, interestingly, Skylier is waxing stronger with each passing day, coupled with an increasing number of clients scattered all over the nation. With this in mind, the board of directors, with the exception of Mr. Anatoly, have unanimously agreed to expand our business with an additional branch somewhere in the east.
Anatoly. In any case, this is good news. But like you rightly said, I'm too old to take up additional responsibility. Or perhaps you want my advice on the issue.
Not exactly, but that would not hurt either. I need a capable, trustworthy hand to manage the said branch once we are good to go.
I'm afraid those qualities you mentioned are so hard to find in this age. Why don't you do an internal sourcing, or better still use Michael, your son?
No, I want Michael here. Would Ben be a bad idea? I mean, he's intelligent and I have noticed a lot of notable changes in him. Perhaps I should give him the benefit of the doubt.
Honestly, this one is tough for me. You know I am not good at judging characters. Besides, I don't want to end up giving you a bad wife, you know what I mean? But see, I'm not totally disproving your intentions to give him a chance.
Well, since the new branch is not ready yet, perhaps I should try him out on some higher positions for the time being and see how he handles it.
And as you do that, I think it would be sensible to advertise the position publicly. You never know.
The devil you know, they say, is better than an unknown angel. I'm afraid I will stick to my decision. But please, don't give Ben any hint yet.
What am I hearing? You mean you are now a branch supervisor? What can I say? I am the latest, biggest boy in town. But mind you, I didn't even ask for it. He simply called me into his office, and there was the magic. Just like that? That's incredible. Perhaps your father played a role in all this. My dad? I'm not sure he's regained my trust to that extent yet. But whatever, I am a boss as it stands. Of course, you are. Perhaps we should drop all the talks and celebrate the new king. I know. But before then, excuse me for a moment. I need to use the washroom quickly. Stupid, lucky son of a gun. Who does he think he is, living under the sway of his father's shadows? Anyway, what's my business? He makes the money, we squander it together as usual. Life goes on. Sorry for the wait, JB. Now, let's get the food rolling in. Yeah, sure. By the way, I hear you and Susan are back together. Oh yeah. But there are a couple of problems with that reunion. And what could that be? She's insisting I buy her all the stuff I promised her in the past, and her rent, too. I don't see that as a problem. At least not now that you are a big boy. You know what I mean? But I have not started receiving that much money yet. Is that a problem? I could lend you as much money you want, but with 35% interest this time. 35%? Isn't that too much? Please, for the sake of the situation, let's go with 20%. Let's leave it at 30%. After all, what are friends for? Now, what's the other issue with Susan? Kevin wants me to dump her. He says she's no good for me. Kevin? That nerd, what does he know about relationships? Is it not weird that a guy as old as he is, doesn't even have a prospective wife? And to worsen it, he still lives with his parents. Is that the kind of guy you want to listen to in matters of the heart? Ben, quit being a toddler and follow your heart. But I still live with my parents. What does that make me? Nothing I can think of right now. But you see, for you to start to reason like a proper man, you really need to have a place of your own. That way, you are answerable to no one but to yourself. You go to nightclubs and return anytime you want. You eat, drink, dance if you may, and go to bed anytime you want. Can't you see the beauty in all of this? I guess so. But these things involve money, a lot of it. Then borrow, and borrow. There's no harm in it. You can always pay back once your new office starts paying you the needed big wages. I guess you are right. I'm always right. Now, let's celebrate quickly and leave this place before your parents think you are missing. Sir, you sent for me? Oh yeah. Have a seat, will you? You know we did not discuss wages in relation to your new position, and I'm surprised you didn't ask. Why? I didn't want to push my luck, sir. You didn't importune me for the position, I gave it to you. So, you wouldn't be committing an offense by asking for a commensurate remuneration. So, can I ask now? No. Your supervisory post is meant to be a simulation in readiness for something bigger. That's the reason I called you here. Listen, I'm sure you are aware of the new office branch that was inaugurated recently in the East. I do, sir. Also, you understand the new branch hasn't got someone to head it yet. You mean like a branch manager? You are correct. Well, the thing is I am not sure if you would be interested in the position because it involves moving you a few miles away from your parents. Do you think it's something you want to try out? I am speechless, confused, and at the same time, excited. Thank you, sir. Does this mean a yes? Without a doubt. Thank you again, sir. Okay then, the move shall take place in about a month's time. Will that be fine by you? Of course, sir. But I must warn you just as always, the company reserves the right to fire or pursue criminal charges against you, if there's a wanton disregard for rules governing us at Skylier. Remember, silence is the key. I understand all that, and I won't disappoint you. Good. You may now leave. I cannot still wrap my head around the fact that Ben would be managing a whole branch at Skylier in a few days' time. What did they even teach that Sir Peters guy? Is it that he lacks the ability to think straight?
Please, let's start moving. Ben is mine, or rather, ours to devour. Have you forgotten?
I guess you have a point. But since his position has been elevated from a mere, unsalaried branch supervisor to a real-time branch manager, I think we need to reorganize our options. And by the way, has he started offsetting some of your needs?
I actually wanted to tell you about it on the phone yesterday. He paid my house rent for up to 6 months. I owed only a month and a few days, so
I lent him some dough. Press him harder because I gave him enough to meet virtually all of your needs, but not the car yet.
Are you for real? I'm so glad we are doing this all over again. Ben is just immature in these things. He's lucky to have come from a wealthy home.
You can say that again. It's a nice place, and I'm so happy for you. Once again, congratulations, my dear friend. Thank you. It's hard to believe I would be in charge of over 100 workers, all under me. I think it would be more humbling to relate to them as colleagues working together for a greater good. Such a virtuous attitude doesn't diminish the fact that you are their boss. Again, I noticed that the distance from your present residence to this new location isn't that far to warrant you renting another house. You could save that money for other projects. You and your virtuity. However, I'm sorry to disappoint you because I've already paid the rent for a house nearby. You did what? Are you crazy? Is your parents even aware of this latest development? And where are you getting all the money you're wasting these days? I don't understand. Are you here to tutor me on morality and life choices, rather than be happy for me for once? I'm scared for you because you are doing the same thing that got you fired previously. Your news is all over town, how you went on a shopping spree with Susan, and paid huge sums of money for her house rent. Did you tell me all these things? Of course, no. But I heard it all somehow. You are the most unapologetic person I've ever met in my life. Listen, Ben, you have a beautiful life in front of you, but you must change certain aspects of your life, talk less, and re-examine your choices. Professor of Counseling, are you done speaking? Please, leave my office. Are you seriously asking me to leave? I said leave.
I think it's high time you got that Kevin guy out of your life for good. Can't you see he doesn't like me at all? Perhaps he's the reason your parents are fusing about our courtship. And who knows, maybe he's the one preventing you from buying me a car.
Don't say that about your car and my parents. I'm working on something, okay? And well, concerning Kevin, it's all over between us. I don't ever want to set my eyes on him again.
Good riddance. And by the way, how's the furnishing of your house going?
Great. The furniture and a few kitchen stuff would be delivered next Saturday.
I can't wait for us to settle down. You know what that means to me? A manager's wife, that's who I would become. Son, where have you been all day? Your phone has been unreachable, and you are coming back this late?
I'm afraid I needed to take care of some personal stuff for once.
You've started gallivanting all over the town, spending monies you don't even have with Susan again?
Kevin must stop coming to this house.
I didn't need Kevin to tell me anything. Your news is all over the place.
Can I go inside? I'm tired of this whole thing. I'm not a child, Mom.
You didn't even ask after your father. Why?
Since when did he become a toddler? Okay, where's Dad, if that will make you happy?
He's at Sir Peter's house, as we speak.
Why? Is there a party going on there?
Do you remember Mr. Anatoly?
The Russian gentleman, co-founder of Skylier?
Well, he's pulling out of the conglomerate, and you know what that means?
I wish I knew, Mom. I'm confused. This issue has lingered for quite some time. I thought Anatoly had changed his mind on the subject matter. So, what's going to happen now?
How will I know? Perhaps when your father returns we would know the situation of things.
Or should I call Sir Peters directly at this moment?
I don't think it's a good idea.
But I'm a branch manager. I should be the one with him right at this moment, not Dad.
A branch manager to be, son, get that straight.
Once Mr. Anatoly pulls out, Skylier is doomed. Tell me, Mom, am I cursed? Why aren't things working the way I want them to be? I already have a vision of how I want to run my life, and now this.
You should put yourself together until your father gets back. You never know.
This is not looking good. So, what do you want to do now? Well, Sir Peters hasn't said anything regarding this issue. But there's a general meeting scheduled for next week. How about your so-called managerial appointment? That's the thing. The whole thing has been put on hold for the time being. Perhaps after the scheduled meeting, I would know my fate. And you want to keep waiting? Remember, you owe me money, a lot of it. And you know, my business must not get stalled because of your situation. Even a bank won't give a damn about your situation. Besides, interest is gradually accruing. JB, I called you out here to advise me on what to do, and not this. Well, that was just a kindly reminder. Perhaps my approach was wrong. My apologies. But anyway, concerning the position of things at Skylier, I think you should go after that Anatoly guy. You lost me there. How do you mean? I mean, go after him for job offers. He might have a better thing for you at this early stage. But he's still at the negotiating table with Sir Peters. What if he changes his mind and decides to stay? What else can two known billionaires be discussing other than sharing formula? You've got to be smart, Ben. Maybe I should meet him tomorrow at his private resort. Good thinking. That way, no one in your office would know your plans. And make sure you tell no one about this master plan, not even Susan or your parents. I'm so happy, JB. Thank you. Anytime. That's what true friendship is all about. Dad, you sounded not so good on the phone. What's the problem? Sit down with me for a moment, will you? So, what is it that cannot wait till tomorrow, Dad? When last did you go to work or check on your boss? But you know we've all been placed on an indefinite leave. Besides, I've been busy putting my new house in order. That house was a bad idea, to start with. But that's besides the point. Why did you go to Mr. Anatoly at this trying period? Who said I went to see him? You are such an ungrateful idiot. Do you think Mr. Anatoly and Sir Peters are just business partners? They are childhood friends. These guys have crossed countless, turbulent boundaries to reach this point. And you think you can come between them? For your information, you've been fired again. Go and meet your crying mother in the room, and find a way to console her. And get out of my sight this minute. I'm certainly sorry to barge in on, but you see, it's just hard to sit at home doing nothing while my son is nowhere to be found. I totally understand your plight, sir. However, we are still establishing some groundwork to enable us comprehend why he's missing in the first place. I'm afraid I can't do anything beyond what I've just said. I'm sorry. 2 days have elapsed. I mean, if it was a kidnap case, someone should have called and then we would hold something. Don't worry your head. We are working on something. And by the way, do you know any of Ben's friend named JB? His actual name is Johnston Billy. That hooligan? I have long established that Ben must stop seeing him. Well, I don't think that's the case, because Ben owes that young man large sums of money. As it stands, we are in the process of getting JB here for a chat. Oh my goodness. This boy is always dragging my name and reputation to the muds. And you know what? JB is no good news. He should be brought here at once. Without a doubt, JB is known to us. But you must understand that we follow due process in cases of this nature. What if I involve a private eye on the case? That is definitely not necessary at this point, as it might interfere with our investigations. All we are asking is your patience, and all these things would be wrapped up shortly. So, I should simply go home and wait? I'm afraid yes. You didn't make any sense at all. But well, before we continue, you have the right to stay silent. Anything you say can attest against you in court. You have the right to speak to an attorney for advice before we ask you any questions. You have the right to have a legal advisor with you during questioning. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed for you before any questioning if you wish. If you decide to answer questions now without a lawyer present, you have the right to stop answering at any time. Do you understand? Of course, I understand. I know these things. Right. Let's get on with it then. So, tell me, why did you kidnap Ben? I told you he owes me money, and by the look of things, I don't think he has any means of paying it back. How do you mean? The stupid guy is jobless. But I need my money. Firstly, I have to warn you to refrain from using uncivil language in this room. Secondly, kidnapping is a serious offense, and the maximum penalty is imprisonment for life. Are you aware of this? Besides, it doesn't make any sense to abduct a person who owes you money. How do you make that judgment? Well, his father is a multimillionaire. So, because he's a multimillionaire, you have rights to his wealth? Also, why did you have to lend Ben such an exorbitant amount of money with such whopping interest? He needed it, I gave it to him. And somehow, a businessman like me got to stay in business. More like you forced him to take the loan knowing he won't be able to pay it back. And I tell you this, your intention is not to ensnare Ben, you are, and has been after his parents. Is that not so? That is not true, sir. I'm a businessman, that's who I am. I'm the liar here, right? You think you are a businessman? Tell me, how much money do you want from that family? I simply wanted my money. But the call you made to Ben's parents indicated you wanted more than what Ben owes, including the interest. Is that not wicked and criminal? I'm not talking to you anymore. I need an attorney. That's fine. It's your right after all.
My dear husband, how do we begin to solve our son's problem? It's really hurting me. Do you think he needs a psychologist?
Ben has an immense issue with his mouth, that's all. I'm sure he got that from you.
Are you seriously saying that? I thought it was my loquacious deportment that attracted you to me. Was it not?
Of course, it was. But being loquacious can be used in positive or negative terms. Unfortunately, Ben seems to embrace the negative side of loquacity. He doesn't need a psychologist, he needs us. He's our son.
Thank you for being the best husband and father ever. I love you.
I love you as well. Now, go and get Ben for a family chat.
Without a doubt.